how you want to keep drugs out of the U.S.
Right.
Can you explain more about why you would pardon a notorious drug trafficker?
Well, I don't know who you're talking about.
Juan Orlando Hernandez.
Well, I was asked by Honduras, many of the people of Honduras, they said it was a Biden setup. I don't mean Biden, but Biden didn't know he was alive. But it was the people that surround the Resolute desk, surround Biden when he was there, which was about very little time. And the people of Honduras really thought he was set up, and it was a terrible thing. He was the president of the country. And they basically said he was a drug dealer because he was the president of the country. And they said it was a Biden administration setup. And I looked at the facts and I agreed with them.
What evidence can you share that he was set up and that he wasn't?
Well, you take a look. I mean, they could say that you take any country you want. If somebody sells drugs in that country, that doesn't mean you arrest the president and put him in jail for the rest of his life.
Do you think the U.S.
That includes this country, okay?
This is my.
All right, shalom. All praises to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, Hashem Gakadash. Double honor to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, who will teach all who taught us this truth. This is Brother Yashmai from the GMS Atlanta camp. And I came across that video again in social media now, you know. I feel like I be introducing my videos a lot by saying that statement. But you know what? Social media is how we get our news. Social media is what's going throughout the world. So there's nothing wrong with being on social media, right? If social media is what's giving you the view for the videos, all right? Because social media tells you what's going on in this world, right? Isn't that what we're supposed to be doing? Let's get 2nd Ezra 9:1 KJV. Says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before. Let's get the next one. Then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time when the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. So we are called to pay attention to the times. Pay attention to what's going on in the world. And a lot of what's going on in the world is now posted on social media. So now let's go back to the theme of the video. Now I'm a person, you know, call it what you want. I'm a person that, you know, sometimes I have to regurgitate what I hear. And so for my sake, right, and probably for the sake of some brothers listening into this video, let's regurgitate what we heard. Let's regurgitate what we heard and put it in context. What is the context right now? Today is, you know, December the 1st, 2025. And what's going on is you have Trump, an Edomite, who has called on the airspace of Venezuela to be shut down. Let me say that again. You have an American president that has the ability to shut down the airspace in another country thousands of miles away. And why has he done this? What is, matter of fact, what is the justification of Trump going to war with with Venezuela? It says, this is from the BBC. It says warships, fighter jets in the CIA. What is Trump's endgame? For 2 months, the U.S. has been building up a force of warships. Blah, blah, blah. It's the largest deployment there for decades. Bomber attackments, right? It says the U.S. says it has killed dozens of people in strikes on small vessels from Venezuela, which it alleges carry narcotics and narco-terrorists, without providing evidence or details about those on board. So basically, this dude has broadcasted it on live. He's broadcasted it on live television, him taking out the Asherites, the so-called Venezuelans. And he said, oh, you know what? Hey, man, I killed these people. And you know why I killed them? Because I'm here to tell you that they were sending you drugs. Oh, what? You want proof? There is no proof. I blew them up. The justification that Trump is using to go against Venezuela is because of drugs, he says. So now, with that context, we go back to the video. Why did I play that video? Because the video played talked about Trump. Now let's go and get that. Let's get that news article. Trump pardons. Hey, right there. It's already. Trump pardons Honduran president. It says right here. Let's see what Politico says. It says White Press Secretary, blah blah blah. Honduran president and convicted drug trafficker Juan Orlando Hernandez, arguing his conviction was instead the result of a politicalized trial. It says Hernandez was sentenced last year to 45 years for conspiring to transport hundreds of tons of cocaine through his country. How many brothers, how many relatives do we know that are in prison right now for a dime bag of cocaine, an 8 ball of cocaine? Many of us can attest to that. You have a president that was selling hundreds of tons, not hundreds of pounds, hundreds of tons. A ton is 2,000 pounds. So you're talking about hundreds of 2,000s of pounds. And Trump is going to pardon him? But wait a minute. So again, going back to the kind of person that I am. Going back to the kind of person that some people may be. I have to get stuff repeated to me sometime in a very simple method for me to fully grasp what's being done. America is invading Venezuela because of drugs. But America is pardoning a president for shipping drugs. Does that make sense? Now, let's go in here and let's do a quick Google search. And yeah, we're going to get scriptures. We're going to get scriptures, by the way. Salakia for the long intro. We are. We're going to get scriptures. Okay, but first, let's lay down the foundation. It says, I just typed in a quick search on Google. What countries provide the most drugs to America? Because isn't that what Trump is saying? We're taking over Venezuela because of the drugs that they put into this country. Okay, that's his stance. Even though he's pardoning another drug trafficker, that's his stance. So you type in what countries provide the most drugs to America. It says Mexico is the primary source country for most illicit drugs. So hold on a minute. And I know that, this is going to be facetious. Mexico map. This is going to be facetious. It is. But let's look at this here. Mexico is right here. America is right there. And Mexico is the one in Mexico does the most drugs, and it's right underneath America. Your problem is with drugs, and the drugs are being brought in by Mexico. What do? You go 3,000 miles to Venezuela. It's all a lie, people. It says, including fentanyl, heroin, meth, Colombia is the primary source for the country of cocaine. Venezuela is not even on here. Mexico, Colombia, China, India, Peru, and Bolivia. Mexico's not there. So what do we have here? We have Psalms 55th and 21st. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter. Why? Because what American hasn't lost their kid to... Matter of fact, let's do a search on that. Let's do that. Let's see what Google search. What percent of Americans have lost a loved one to drugs? Let's see how fucked off these people are. A nationally representative survey suggests that 1 in 3 people, or percent of U.S. adult estimated, have lost some America's through. These motherfuckers are doing. Let me show you a video I found, and there's no video for me to do it on, but I'm gonna do it on. I'm gonna bring it up here. Mm, this is a running joke. It is the reason. I mean, I came across this video, and I do a lot of screen recording on my phone. Excuse me. And so I came across this video, and I just thought that it was funny because it's a running joke, even amongst the Ammonites, the so-called Japanese, that they are now doing the fentanyl lean. America is through. And so that's why, because America is so through, and they've been through, by the way, um, everyone is in agreement. Everyone, yeah, go take out Venezuela. Why? Because my brother-in-law died of, fentanyl. How was that Venezuela's fault? Your brother's a druggie. Get him a fucking, put him in a class or something. If you're a druggie, well, then you're through, man. At least take some responsibility. And so I say all of that to say this. Prior to going to war, you have to have a good excuse. And Psalms 55th, the 21st verse goes into it. It says the word of his mouth were smoother than butter. And that's because why? Because everyone wants to hear it. 1 in 3 Americans have lost somebody that they know to drugs. So when Trump says we're going to do this because to take out the drugs, every regard, and I say regard with a T, a big T, every regard jumps up and down, clapping like a seal, and says, that sounds good, let's do it. But what they don't understand is that that if that was the reason why you're doing it, if you really do care about your people, you wouldn't be going 3,000 miles away. Matter of fact, let's do that. Let's do directions. Just to do this real quick. Washington D.C. to Caracas. If you really wanted to get rid, it says new condition. It won't let me say it. It won't even give it to you. Why? Because Trump shut down the airspace. That's nuts. That's nuts. You can't even go to it. But the point is this, man. The point I'm trying to make is if your problem is right here, you don't go 3,000 miles or 4,000 miles over here, man. But everybody's jumping on it. It says, neither keepeth. Oh, Salaka. It says, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. These people, these Edomites, these self-proclaimed whites, always give you a reason as to why they have to invade another country, and that reason never makes sense. You look at Iraq with the WMDs, it never made sense. You look at Gaddafi, it never made sense. They now even admit that they created a vacuum for ISIS to grow. Right? So it never makes sense. But always what? What is the always? The words of his mouth were smoother than butter. Now, let's take it even further. Who is speaking? What race of people was telling you that they got to go kill Afghanistans? What race of people was telling you that they got to go kill Iraqis, that they got to go kill the Vietnamese, that they got to go kill the Japanese, that they have to go kill the Russians, that they have to now go and kill, name any of it. Name any of it. It's always been a reason. Nahum 3:1. Woe to the bloody city, it is full of lies and robbery. Perfectly links up with Psalms. The prey departeth not. America hasn't seen a war that it didn't want. It's always a reason to go and take over another country, man. And that's how we know that America is that whore mentioned in Revelations, the 17th chapter. The first verse and the 15th verse explains it to you. And if that doesn't explain it to you, read this verse here and tell me what country comes to mind. When you read this verse, do you think about Russia? Do you think about China? Do you think about Canada? You think about Mexico? Do you think about Australia? Or do you think about America? Yea, also, because he transgresses by wine. He is a proud man, neither keeps at home, who enlarges his desire as hell. Is that Russia? Is that China? Or is that America? And is as death and cannot be satisfied, but gathers unto him all nations and heaps unto him all people. So hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Because when you do a quick Google search and you see what are the what's the word I'm looking for? What are the what's the word I'm looking for? Ramifications. Um, if you go into China, if you sink into China, does China want all these illegal immigrants, so called? Does Russia want all these immigrants from all these, torn lands? The answer is no. What country gathers unto them all nations and heaps unto them all people? It's America. It's America, man. And that's why America has to go down. And so even Job, the oldest book in the Bible, talks about it. It says, Job 20 verse 5, it says that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite is but for a moment. And these people are triumphing. They have lifted up their head. Let's get that. Rev 17. Let's get that. Because you know what? As we just got here in Job 20, it says, the triumphing of the wicked is short. And that is true. It makes me think of this verse here. It says, 17 and 12. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings. Right? Talking about the EU. It says, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. Right? These people are in control, but it's only 1 hour. And that links up with Job 20. The triumphing of the wicked is short. It's only 1 hour. Yeah, they are in their headship. But their headship is but for a moment, man. And it calls you a hypocrite. Why? Why is America called that hypocrite? Because let's check this out. Let's let the facts show. How many Americans die of fentanyl each year? I don't even know how to spell that motherfucker. 72,000 die of fentanyl. How many Americans die of what's the word? What's a word that I'm looking for here? Of pharmaceuticals. Okay. Says, okay, so fentanyl is 72,000 and pharmaceuticals is 100,000 to 250,000. So you mean to tell me, let's say that you're a good king, which these people are not. You mean to tell me that you have two statistics here. You have your people are 72,000 are dying by fentanyl. And that fentanyl, by the way, is not being sent over through Venezuela. It's being sent over by Mexico, Colombia, and China. And then you have another statistic, which is you have 100,000 people dying of pharmaceutical drugs, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson. And you mean to tell me you're going to go after the lesser number of 72,000? And then even in that lesser number, you're even going to go even more lesser into that number, which is going into Venezuela, which they don't even make up any they make up a very small percentile of that number. You're a hypocrite. You are a hypocrite. And that is what our prayer is. Psalm 17 and 13. Arise, O Yahweh, Hashem Shai. Disappoint him. Disappoint him how? We just read in Habakkuk that he cannot be satisfied. Let's let the scripture speak. Their inward thoughts. Let's get that. Because this is their mentality. Psalms 49:11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names, the Gulf of America. So when the scripture talks about disappoint him and cast him down, disappoint him from what he perceives to be his lot. He thinks he's going to continue. It says, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. And that's all this bastard is, man. That's all this bastard is. Now, did I have something else? No. That's all this bastard is. He is the chastisement. He is our chastisement. And it's always an Edomite against a brown man. Venezuela's not rivaling America to overtake them as a superpower. It's, China and Russia. What's his response? Go after the brown man. Just goes to show you that we are the Israelites, man. The point of this video is just to, give some, educational information as to the underlying factors of what we're witnessing with Venezuela. I hope this has been edifying. And until the next one, Shalom.